Hey guys, welcome back to another Command & Conquer 3 Kane's Wrath video commentary. My name is Green Zero and welcome back to Tournament Dustbowl. No poker, because apparently nobody likes poker anymore. As we can see on the left hand side, there is now no spike there, and if we zip over to the right hand side, we can see the spike is also gone from there. But let's have a look at the players we have here in this random mirror. On the south side of Tournament Dustbowl, we have Technique again. Technique always uploading the reps and always want to see them. He is going to be GDI Vanilla, and his opponent up here playing as the Psy in GDI. It's going to be the questionable Maze. So we got Maze here playing in this game, and he is going to be GDI Vanilla as well. So it's going to be GDI Vanilla versus, well, it's actually going to be a GDI mirror, so essentially both sides taking these buildings here. There is an EMP control center in the middle of the map. Someone can take that if they wish. Maze just skirting around the sides. He does have this building as well. That's interesting. He sent out quite a few scouts. He's got 4 scouts that I can see on this field, and if you're wondering, the spike, of course, Technique just forgetting to capture his, of course, is in the bottom left hand side. We can see Maze already has securities in the top right hand side, so it's no poker, which means you get 1 spike each, which kind of takes away the fun of the level half the time. And people are going to make some maps where there are contested spikes. I mean, that's some of the reason why you have spikes. I mean, most maps have a spike in them, so people build barracks, which encourages scouting. That's the whole purpose of the spike. But you still have maps where you've got contested spikes. Tournament Rift has contested spikes. You got a safe one and a contested one. In this one here, it's only contested. You can choose to go for it or not. Looks like Maze will lose out there. The Harvester giving him a helping hand. He will expand off 2 power plants, which means Technique does not experience low power mode here. Maze, meanwhile, a little bit behind in getting that extra power plant. He did go for a lot of scouts. That may have slowed him down a little bit here. 4th Harvester about to pop. We have Technique's 4th Harvester already out. He's actually ahead. He's ahead of Maze. I mean, it could again be because of the scouting. Maze still has 3 scouts left over. Technique, I think he only went for 1, maybe 2 scouts. So he had an extra, $600 in the bank to really work with that extra. I mean, $600. That's a lot of dough at the start of the game to really boost down that extra harvester or that extra refinery. So Technique is going to reach its expansion. Sorry, Maze is going to reach expansion and deploy. Technique is, of course, on the south side, and he's got another structure which is almost done. So yeah, significantly ahead of Maze. Maze will get another scout off. He will find a watchtower, so Technique completely blocks that, shuts it down. Is this going to be a refinery? He's going to be significantly ahead, or not significantly, I guess, but minorly ahead. I'm not sure if that's even a word, of Maze. You can see there, Maze is about 6 or 7 seconds behind on his refinery. He does have 6 harvesters, 7 harvesters actually now. He's heavily saturated on the main base here, so might want to transition a 2nd harvester across. I think he's actually out harvested Technique, so no, Technique has the extra harvester as well. So these guys here, I mean, they're obviously aware they're both GDI. I'm not sure if Technique has even scouted out Maze's base yet. We'll have to have a look. No, he has not even entered. You can see the buildings disappearing. He has not even entered Maze's base. He has no idea what's happening here. He can, of course, only see the center of the map. He's pretty blind to what's going on. Maze also extremely blind, but he has the center of the map locked down. He did get a recent scout off, so he's not totally in the dark. But sneaky airfield coming down from Technique. This could be for Orcas. Orcas, funnily enough, seem to be the best in GDI mirrors. They used to be the best in Nod mirrors, but I think, sorry, not Nod mirrors, GDI versus Nod, but I think GDI commanders in the last 5 or so years have been doing other things. But yeah, in the GDI mirror, I think the Orca tends to be the best. He's actually lifting off these Orcas ahead of time. Now, he's just moving them away just in case they get jumped so they can fight back. Maze, meanwhile, 2nd ref is ahead of Technique, so he's caught up in the economic department, but of course he doesn't have any aircraft, and he's going for Predator tanks. He's going to be caught blind by these 4 Orcas. 4 Orcas, of course, you should already know, can destroy 3 harvesters if microed correctly. And the only exception to that is, of course, Reaper 17, which takes an extra volley because of their shields. It's really hard. Like, aircraft just doesn't do a lot versus Strider. When you have shielded harvesters, it's even worse. Maze double war factoring Predator tanks out, which is good in an armor fight, but of course Technique is going to go to the air. He's actually got some pitbulls out as well. Orcas go very well with pitbulls because you have fast attack on the ground and fast attack in the air. We'll have to keep an eye on where those Orcas are actually heading. They're already out and about. He's going for composite armor, so he's going to be going for the tier 1. The Orcas are on the right hand side. They're moving up. They're probably going to come around and strike the center base. I think Maze may be sniffing something out here. Does he have any eyes on? Yeah, he did a radar scan. We can see there he did a radar scan. Technique is going to radar scan. He's going to see that there's doesn't want to go in there, and Maze does deflect this, so actually doesn't work out too badly for him. He's still going to flank around, but unfortunately the pitbulls are guarding the base here where they're going to enter. That turret placement, oh my god, that doesn't cover anything. He should have put that way back here. I'm not sure why he stuck it so far out. Obviously looking to deny what's happening over here. He does have a turret over here. He will get a harvester. Oh no, not micro terribly correctly. He might get a second harvester. Oh, those orcas are bunched up. And no, he's one rocket short. He didn't get two harvesters. 4 orcas for 1 harvester. Look at that. He's got nothing in the health bank there. I don't know how he survived that. Orca strike coming in as well. Will he just sell up? No, he's going to retain the airfield for now, but I'm not sure what he's going to do with it. Technique, of course, going heavy on the infantry APC. Infantry, of course, great versus the Predator tanks. The APCs will prevent the crush because they'll just get in the way, and he can always just spam out minefields. You can actually drop a minefield on the location where the APC is, which means they can just like be at a standstill shooting, then just go bam and drop a minefield. Mammoth tanks come out. He's going to go for railguns, and he's going to go for firehawks. Obviously, maybe just for, I mean, because there's no stratofighter, maybe just to protect against orcas. Technique is not going for any more. Pitbulls are over here, but they're going to find Technique's pitbulls. Army is moving through the center there. They are trying to clear out some of the base. AP ammo is done for Technique. Ref comes down. And this is interesting because they're both doing very different things. Technique is spamming tier 1 with upgrades, AP ammo, composite armor, stuff like that. He did have, I mean, he's not going back for aircraft still, whereas Maze is like, you know what, I want lots of tanks, I want lots of railguns. He needs something to deal with the infantry, and maybe he can just pump out some sniper teams or call in the sharpshooters. He's still continuing to build Firehawks, so he obviously wants a full deck of Firehawks. And maybe he's going to go for the Stratofighter upgrade. We'll have to wait and see, but both sides meandering around, trying to figure out what the best angle is to attack them. Pitbulls are down here, but they will find Maze's Pitbulls at harvest, and just no ref down here, so he's going to back off. So these Pitbulls will basically destroy each other. No one really has a significant advantage. He will find the spike here, and he will destroy it, which really confirms to Maze that the army is there, and his army was already in position anyway. Technique is going to trade out with these Pitbulls. He should be able to defend this out rather nicely. Yeah, he will. There's only 3 Pitbulls left. He can probably get that one with 1 more shot. No, 2 more shots because of the veterancy here. And more Pitbulls are coming as well, so it's not really going to work out too well. From a bit of splash damage there to help Maze out as well. There is going to be a big fight soon, though. Railguns just finishing here. This could be a problem. He doesn't have a lot of anti-infantry. There's rifleman squads here, probably from just sold off structures. Does he have AP ammo? Where's his comm center? Did he sell his comm center? He may have sold it. He may very well have sold that. He kind of needs it. 1 Pitbull does remain, but the harvesters could probably just gun that down right now. Keeping an eye on those units on the right-hand side because something is going to happen here. Firehawks are coming in. They don't have Stratofighter booster, which is very unusual. He will bomb this refinery. Does not drop all his bombs, and he will come back for them. The major fight is breaking out over here, so we'll have to keep an eye on this one here. So it looks like railguns and just more railguns versus APCs and infantry. He's going to have to go for the crush. He's got no choice because he can't kill the infantry, even with railguns. That's not going to be enough. We have, oh geez, here comes the GDI airborne. Shockwave artillery comes down. This is not steel talon, so there's no adaptive armor. He will disable a huge amount of tanks there, and the infantry are so scattered, they might just be able to clean this up here. This 1 mammoth tank on the left-hand side, these units are so close to the structures here that they can't really be crushed. And the mammoth tanks, of course, and look at that, he's calling orbit. I'm not sure who called that in, whether it was Maze or whether it was Technique. I'm not 100% sure. It didn't seem to be on anything really, but that was a bit of a firework at the end of the battle here. A few of these mammoth tanks are going to sneak into the base here. They've got so much health that takes a while to kill them, especially with infantry. Even though they're good against tanks, it still takes quite a while to kill those units. He will snare another harvester. He's going to try to turn around, but no, there's way too much there. Those tanks will be eliminated. Technique lost quite a few harvesters, and he lost a ref, so his economy took a pounding. I don't think there was any counter harass. Meanwhile, we can see the sold off Space Command. I think that was Maze doing that. Did he EMP his own tanks? Oh my god, Technique does not have... Oh, he does have a tier 3. I'm not sure. I don't see his own troopers from a sold off command. Did he orbital strike? No, did he shockwave his own units there? That is interesting. It looks to be, judging from what I can see, that Maze did drop the shockwave. Now, the shockwave does grenade damage, which means it can kill infantry quite well, but the amount of tanks which got disabled there, if Maze did that, that was an absolute huge blunder there to cool down the shockwave and then just to drive straight into it. Because I can't see any zone troopers from Technique. He does have a tech center. He may well have had a Space Command uplink, but still no AP ammo here for Maze. This is going to be really difficult to deal with these infantry. I mean, Tech has AP ammo, he's got composite armor. A lot of these infantry are ranked up. There's a lot of ranks in there as well. And these tanks really aren't going to do too much against that. He's got a very heavy force, but he just needs something to get through the infantry. and he'll be fine. Firehawk's heading out. No Stratofighter booster. I think it's on the way now. He will take a few rockets on the way. Oh, is that enough to destroy one of those Firehawks? Pretty close, not quite. We got Zone Troopers here. Again, there's no anti-infantry. Maze, almost a refusal here to build anti-infantry. And these 3 Mammoth tanks, they're not cheap. They will be destroyed here, and there's not a lot he can do about it. Still no APM, and those towers aren't going to do anything. He's going to have to go for the crush, and you know what? Technique has so many rocket squads here that he's just going to be able to destroy those Mammoth tanks. That's expensive. 3 tanks went down for the loss of nothing. You can't just give me away. Those 2 Firehawks were also shot down in the process. No ref was destroyed, which means Technique does hold these, and this area here, again, is going to... I mean, without AP ammunition, you're not going to kill these guys with gun-type weapons. They're too bulky, and he's just going to try to drop down bombs on the infantry. He will destroy the last of the Firehawks here, and the Sonic Emitter does a lot of damage, but the composite armor with the suppression allows them to survive multiple hits before going down, and Technique is all spread out now, so crush move is not going to happen here. Maze desperately trying to clean this up. He could have just called in sharpshooters and snipe these guys from range. There's not a lot of rifleman squads, but he's dropping Sonic Emitters, very expensive, and the scatter move coming in from Technique is insane. He just scatters, and then the Sonics can only hit a few infantry squads at a time. And he's going to try to come in here. He's actually got a pretty good line if he gets this last shot off, but he will not know it's cancelled. The Sonic Emitter must remain alive for the Sonic shot to carry across the ground. He does have a lot of economy here, which is a plus, but we're still seeing no command center or command post from Maze, which means, yeah, there is going to be no AP ammo for a very, very, very long time. Rail Pred's coming back out again. He can still build Mammoth tanks, but you know what? What's Technique doing in the meantime? He's going for his own upgrade. Firehawks coming in. No, that's Technique's Firehawks. He may have shot down a few Mazes earlier on. The Marv is coming out. I'm not sure what the upgrade is from Technique here, because it's paused, stuck at halfway. It's obviously stalled on cash. We've got a few Predator tanks, but yeah, now Maze is the one building the infantry. No upgrades. Does Maze have any upgrades at all? I don't think he has any. Oh, he's got railguns. That's about it. But he's gone the whole game without really getting any other upgrades. So he's going to push these tanks back here. But Technique's going to have a Marv out. He's just having a bit of trouble getting his economy down. Some of these harvesters moving a bit slowly. And whatever that upgrade is, I couldn't imagine it's railguns. I mean, he's building a couple of Predator tanks now, but you know what, with a Marv, he could just continue to spam out infantry. He's already got his infantry upgrades. All of them are done. He's actually producing Rifleman squad from his barracks, and ideally, obviously, he's just going to overrun Maze's infantry, whose Maze is building a lot of infantry. He does have his own composite armor now, and APMO is on the way, but it's going to take a while. He can't really engage until he's got that. He's actually taking fire from this building. He's going to want to be careful about that. Technique, his priority right now. Oh, look at that. The Firehawks come in. They take out Maze's airfield. They will be stratifighting. Where are they stratifighting to? And they will stratify in front. They get both the Firehawks. Oh, that was nice. So Technique's not going to enjoy that. And meanwhile, Technique's still trying to slow down this army. These units just firing sporadically. Then Maze is trying to push through the center here, and he's just trying to ignore these buildings now. And he's going to go straight for Technique's base. Technique does have rail preds here, but he doesn't have a lot else. The majority of his army is, his army is moving entirely up here. Sorry. That Pred tank might want to move a little bit closer to the war factory there. Maze decides, you know what, I don't really have enough to break through there. I'm just going to back off. And he does have APM. It has completed now, so he needed to wait for that, and it is done. 2 Firehawks on the deck. Is he going to build more of those? Not 100% sure. Is Technique building them? No, Technique is no longer building them as well. Do we have Stratifighter booster? Yes, we do have Stratifighter booster from Maze, so obviously looking to continue on with that, getting some repairs on that heavily damaged Mammoth tank, Predator tank there. Technique is starting to clean up his main. He does have notable amount of Tiberium on his both bases here, where Maze has kept his dry. Technique also retains the spike. Maze has moved his army over the left-hand side again, so both sides now trying to position themselves. We have the Marv out, the Marv is going to come up against this army here, and Maze doesn't really have anything to disable it. I mean, there's not enough units here, there's not enough rocket squads or anything to really contend with the Marv, and he's going to have to back off. He may have to go for some EMP grenades. He does hold a tech center. He could go infantry juggernauts, always a good idea, but he's going to go for his own reclamator hub. Stratifighter booster goes in. Where are those guys going? Not 100% sure. I can't see. Here we go. They're on the bottom side of the map. Did they bomb something? No, they're just flying back to base. I'm not sure what his plan was there. Maybe he Q moved. There we go. The Firehawks now moving around, just having a look. He does hold the EMP spike. Now Technique realizes this and destroys it, so no EMP blast comes down. What were those Firehawks doing? Did they destroy something and we just missed it? I didn't see them drop any bombs. It didn't seem like they had enough time to drop bombs, but they will be recalling. And now Maze has his own Marv. He has enough units here. Technique is out of position. He needs to bring his army down here to fight this, but unfortunately, it's probably not going to be fast enough. There is going to be a major engagement here as both sides move in. Technique's Marv is trying to back out to the south side here, but he's on critical damage right now, which means he's probably getting pretty close to being destroyed. The crush move comes in. Oh, is he not going to get the Marv? The Marv just manages to edge away here, and now there's a lot of Predator tanks here. We have a Shockwave. Is that a Shockwave coming down? There is a beacon there. It is a Shockwave, and this whole battle has been turned around by by Technique. Maze comes in with a few units, but you know what? Not able to get the Marv. The Marv sneaks out of the battlefield, and now these units are here. There's some Zone Trooper squads, but there's Riflemen here as well, and he's going to be able to destroy this. I'm not sure what the Firehawks are doing this whole time. They're sitting on the deck, and he's not going to be able to take out this many tanks. Technique, he pulled a lot of tanks out then, didn't he? Maze is in so much trouble. Those guys can stratifighter out. They can bomb what they want. 2 more tanks will go down. Calls in the drop pod. Technique does, and he does bomb these units, but bombing is now irrelevant. He needs to defend his base here, and he's not going to be able to do it. The airfield's going to be overrun. Maze has nothing left. I expect a GG coming out. He's trying to build Zone Troopers to counter the Predators, which is a great idea, but the problem is there's all these AP ammo Rifleman squad, and they just rank up super quickly. Maze has been defeated predominantly for his refusal to counter the man spam of Technique. He never was able to counter it, not at the start of the match, at the middle of the match, and the end of the match, and the infantry winning it there for Technique. Maze actually got more resources because he was able to keep his fields dry, but a lot of those engagements, almost all of them, went in favor of Technique. Yeah, Maze obviously able to inflict quite a bit of damage in the process. You can see the big fight here where obviously Maze lost a lot less, but I mean most of this was armor, where most of this was infantry, and it's harder to recover. Another big loss there, so that's where Maze kind of held firm and then started to get ahead, but the last fight was disastrous. He went all in for the Marv and he couldn't get it, and of course when he went all in for the Marv, Technique's army came down and was getting free shots on his army because Maze was committed to destroying that Marv. Couldn't get it, unfortunately. 16.5 minutes, 158,000 to 141,000, so we're only about 17 grand in favor of Maze. In a 16.5 minute game, it's not really that notable. I mean, it sounds like a lot of money, which it is, but in a game that goes for a duration like that, you got to remember it's spread out over a longer period of time. Until the 8-minute mark, it was dead even, and it was still pretty close. It started to split, probably at the 12-minute mark, you started to split open a bit, and then hedges round, but well done to both those players. It was a very nice game. Technique there, taking the win. Maze, of course, still fought very well. He had a very good strategy in mind with the rail guns. He obviously thought the game was going to go in a different direction, but yeah, the lack of comm center, the lack of APM and no sniper teams, oh man, if he had that, he could have had the game, but unfortunately not to be. But anyway, hope you all enjoyed this video. I'm Green Zero, and I'll catch you all in the next VOD.